So in our last session, we have seen how to install a digital vault server, that is enterprise password vault or password vault or vault server, whatever we call it. That is the main component of CyberArk solution. So in order to deploy CyberArk, first we need to install the digital vault server, right? Let us revise that vault installation, and we'll see what are the further steps that are involved in the vault installation. Can someone tell me what are the main prerequisites for installing the vault server? Any one of you? What are the prerequisites for installing the vault server? Yes, please. What is required for installing the vault server? What are the software prerequisites? Any one of you? What is required for installing the digital vault server?
I think .NET Framework and C++ Framework, correct?
.NET Framework and C++ Microsoft packages. Okay.
Those
Yes,
are
you
the
are
only two I
correct.
remember.
What else? What else? Any one of you? .NET is correct. Microsoft C++ packages are should be there in order to install the digital vault server. What is the main software prerequisite for installing the vault server? This we discussed already, and we have seen in the installation. We have specified those paths. What are those? I have given you a clue. What is the main thing that is required? Okay, I'll give you a clue. Keys. What keys are required? Any one of you? Which keys are required for installing the digital vault server?
License key.
Okay, very good. License key. What else? And there are some other keys as well. We particularly discussed in our last session. So in order to install CyberArk, we need to get keys from CyberArk channel manager, that is operator CD and master CD. What does those operator keys or operator master keys contain? Any one of you?
Public recovery key.
Yes, yes, Nanaya. Recovery public key, server key, and random database file. So these three keys will be presented in operator keys. So operator keys are required for installing the digital vault server, whereas master keys are required in case of emergencies. So master key contains one extra key. What is that key? Any one of you? When compared with operator keys, master keys contain one more key. What is that key?
Private recovery key.
Recovery private key. Recovery private key. Very good. So recovery private key will be there in the master CD, master keys. Whenever we need to log into the digital vault server in case of emergencies, we are going to use this master keys. Okay, but for installing the digital vault server, we need operator keys. Inside operator keys, we need recovery public key and a server key. Server key is main in order to install the digital vault server. Okay, right. So from our last session, can someone tell me what are the steps involved in the installation of digital vault server? Any one of you? So we have run the setup file, vault server setup file. So what are the steps that you have seen in our previous session? Any one of you? What are the main steps that you can able to remember or you can able to recollect? Any one of you? What are the steps involved in the installation process of digital vault server? Any guess? We have already seen those installation. No idea? So after running the setup file, after running the Vault server software, so what are the steps involved that we have seen in the during the installation process? Any one of you? Any guess?
Location, selecting passwords.
Selecting passwords. Okay, very good. That is master account password and administrator account password we have specified. Okay, that is one point. Very good. Any other? Any other things that we can able to recollect from our Vault installation? What are the main steps involved in the Vault installation?
C++ package and .NET package.
Okay, C++ and Microsoft .NET framework should be installed. Okay, that is the prerequisite. That is the prerequisite before running the software. So these two should be installed on that particular Windows operating system. Fine. So after running the Vault installation server setup file or server package, what are the main steps that are involved during the installation process that we have seen? So someone told me we have to give the passwords of administrator and master password. That is fine. What else? Just now we discussed
Machine
about,
hardening.
yes, very good.
So we
Hardening.
can choose to harden the machine or not.
Yes, very good. So we have seen hardening step. Okay. So in the installation process, at one particular point of time, it will ask us to harden the Vault server, and we need to harden the Vault server. Very good. What else? What else? 2 points we got. One is giving the passwords, and second one hardening. Okay. What are the other main steps that are involved?
Database.
What is database? Database, no, we have not specified any database during the installation. So Vault itself uses MySQL database. So during the installation process or during the installation steps, we have not specified anything related to Vault database. Right. Okay. So let us review that installation for today again, and then we'll move with the other components installation for the next sessions. Okay. I think we got a long break, and I want to summarize the last session what we have done with a PowerPoint presentation. Let me bring up my screen. Can you guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So standalone Vault installation, we'll see what are the steps that are involved, and we'll try to recollect what we have done from our previous session. Okay. So in order to install the Vault server, we need operator keys and master keys. Operator CD contains a server key, recovery public key. Okay. Operator CD keys are required to install the Vault server. These keys are must and should. So inside operator keys, we need a server key. Okay, so this key is required for installing the digital vault server. So during the installation process, we have specified these operator keys somewhere in the installation process. Okay, so for installing the vault, we definitely need operator keys. And master CD. Master CD contains server key, recovery public key, and recovery private key. So this recovery private key will be used in case of emergencies. Okay, we'll see what is that, how we can use that master account in case of emergencies using this recovery private key. But for installing the vault server, we need operator keys. Okay, so these keys are required. Next, what is required? Installation package. Okay, we need a software, whatever the version that we want to deploy. We need a CyberArk software, that is the vault server software and CyberArk component software for installing the CyberArk, right? So can someone tell me what version we have implemented last time? I mean, which version we have installed?
13.2.4.
Yes, very good. 13.2 version, which is the latest version, and soon we are going to get 14 version as well. Okay, so right now we have implemented 13.2 version. Okay, so we need to get that particular CyberArk software, that is vault server, CPM, PWA, PSM, whatever the components that we are going to deploy from the CyberArk channel manager, or if your company or organization is a partner with CyberArk, then we will have access to CyberArk Marketplace. I repeat again, CyberArk Marketplace. There is a website. So from there, we can able to download the CyberArk softwares if you are partners with CyberArk. Okay, or else your channel manager will provide you the software package along with license file and the operator keys, master keys. Okay, so we need to have those softwares: CyberArk installation software, operator keys, license file, or a license file is required. Digital certificates installed in support of LDAP integration. Later we'll see, if we are going to integrate Active Directory, that is LDAP, with CyberArk, we need that digital certificates as well. Okay, so these are the basic requirements in order to implement the CyberArk solution. Now, so before installing, what is required? Installation prerequisites. So we have seen, I told you last time, if we go to network interfaces, okay, in the IPv4 properties, so we need to remove these network interfaces which are not required for the vault. We need to keep just TCP, IPv4 and IPv6. Okay, only IPv4 and IPv6 are required, and we are going to disable all other network interfaces. That is what we have seen, and we have removed those network interfaces before starting our installation. And the vault server, no DNS entries. Okay, no DNS entries. What does it mean? Any one of you? So on the screenshot, it is saying use the following DNS server address. It is empty. What does it mean? No DNS entries means?
Domain name server needs to be empty.
Yes. So this we discussed in our first session. Vault server should not be part of domain. Vault server should not be part of domain because it is highly secured server and it is highly hardened server. Okay. So CyberArk recommending us vault server should not be part of domain. Okay, so we should make sure this server is not part of domain, and no DNS address, no Active Directory address is specified in this DNS entries. Okay, next, wins. Okay, so here we have disabled NetBIOS over TCP in the network properties. So last time we did this, we have disabled NetBIOS over TCP in the properties of IPv4. Now, after running the software package, after running the software package, that is Vault Server package. So first it will ask us to install Microsoft C++ packages and .NET framework. So this .NET framework, it depends upon the operating system that we are going to be installed. So in our case, we are installing our software on a Windows 2016 server. So on a 2016 server, it may ask us for .NET 4.5.2 version or 4.8 version. Okay, so it depends upon the operating system. If you are going to install this Vault Server on a 2012 R2, which is outdated, so then we just need .NET 3.5 version. Okay, so similarly, based on the operating system, if we are going to install on a 2019, we need to go with the latest Microsoft .NET framework, which is supported on that particular operating system. So we have installed the C++ packages and Microsoft .NET framework. So this Microsoft .NET framework, we can download it directly from the Microsoft site and we can run the installation, or in the actual live environment, you can be engaged with your Wintel team or Windows team. So they are going to install these packages for us. Okay. So once we install this .NET framework, the next step is so in this okay, so after running the software package, Vault Server package, so first we will be prompted to install this Microsoft .NET framework and C++ packages. So once those packages are installed, then the next step is it will ask us to enter user information. It will ask us to enter the user information. So in our previous session, we have given any name and the company name, whatever we are working, it's just for registration purpose. So once we have specified that username and computer name, then it will ask us for a mode of installation. Okay, so what type of installation that we are going to deploy? So this was discussed. Vaults can be implemented in two ways, that is standalone Vault installation and CyberArk HA, that is high availability cluster configuration. So the difference between standalone and cluster is, in standalone we will have a single Vault server, whereas in a cluster we will have two Vault servers which will be in active passive mode. Means if one server is down, then still we can able to use the other Vault server and make it as a active in the cluster configuration. If both the Vault servers are down, then we have a backup called disaster recovery Vault server. We will move on to the disaster recovery. So we need to select the type of installation here, standalone Vault installation. Since we are performing standalone, we need to select standalone installation. Remember, the cluster node Vault installation requires a separate license. Okay, so the standalone Vault license will not support for the cluster, whereas the cluster Vault license will support for the standalone as well. Okay, the license file which we are using will support for both standalone and cluster. Next. So after specifying the mode of installation, it will ask us for a destination location. So destination location is nothing but where to install this particular Vault server software on that particular Windows operating system. Okay, so default it will be C program files 86 private arc. C program files 86 private arc. So in this location, our Vault server is going to be installed. Okay, so if we want to change the drive, we can able to change the drive in organization. It depends upon their requirements. So if they have multiple drives that are associated on the Vault server, then we can go with a D drive or E drive, whatever the naming that they have given in the organizations when implementing this particular software. So default location is program files private arc, program files 86 and private arc. Next, so next it will ask us for a safes location. What are safes? Any one of you? What are safes?
Logical containers.
Yes, safe is a logical container where privileged accounts information will be stored. where privileged accounts information will be stored. So these safes will be stored on the vault server. Okay, so it will ask us for the safes location where to create the safes on the digital vault server. That is, default path is private arc safes. Private arc safes. So we'll see. I'll show you on the lab what are these safes, what are the default safes that are created after vault installation as well. So we have specified the destination location, safes location, and then license file path. Okay, so we need to specify the license file, license.xml file path where we have copied onto the digital vault server. Okay, so we need to select and browse the license file, license.xml file path. Next step is operator CD path. Okay, so choose operator CD path. Operator CD should contain server key, recovery public key, and initial random data file. Okay, so we need to browse and we need to select the operator keys where we have placed on our digital vault server. So first we need to copy all these software packages, operator keys, license file onto this vault server, onto the Windows operating system where we are going to deploy this vault, and we need to browse and select those license path and operator keys path where we have placed on the machine. Okay, see here. The contents of operator CD must be accessible when starting the service. Means these operator keys are required for installing the digital vault server, and the contents of operator CD. The contents means inside the operator CD we have the server key. So this server key should be accessible for installing the digital vault server. Okay, and there is one point to be highlighted here. These keys can be stored on the CD, copied to the secure location on the vault server, or stored on a HSM recommended. What is HSM? Any guess? Any one of you? What does HSM stands for? Any guess? What does HSM stands for? So this statement is saying that these keys, particularly operator keys, are recommended to store on a HSM. So HSM means hardware security module. Hardware security module. So it's like an external drive. Okay, it's like an external drive where we can store our operator keys securely with HSM integration with Vault. Okay, so organizations will prefer this, so they need to protect these operator keys and master keys securely. So for that they are going to use some HSM module. It's like an external drive where we can able to store our operator keys securely. Okay, so later we will discuss about these keys. So this is one of the question in the CDE examination. Okay, in the CyberArk certification examinations we have different modules: defender exam, sentry exam, and CDE exam. So one of the question, like how the keys are stored. Okay, how the operator keys and master keys are stored. Next, remote control agent. What is this? Any one of you? We have seen in our installation process. So it asked for remote control address, and we have specified some address, I think 10.0.0.10, if I'm not wrong, in our case. So what is this remote control agent? Any one of you? We discussed last time.
Responsible to monitor the services status.
Yes, to monitor the services status. Okay, not only the services of Vault. So this remote control agent, see the statement definition here on the screen. The remote control agent enables users to perform administrative Vault operations from a remote terminal. So statement is clear. So means we can operate our Vault server or we can perform some administrative tasks. Some administrative tasks in the sense we can monitor the services, we can check the status of vault, whether it is running or not, or we can get the memory of the vault server, etc. Okay, so these are some of the operations, vault operations, that we can do it from a remote terminal. Means no need to log into our digital vault server directly. We can use this remote control agent, and from a remote server we can log in and we can perform some administrative tasks with the on the vault server. Later we will see how we are going to configure this and how we are going to perform some of the administrative tasks on the vault server using remote terminal. Okay, so if we want to specify this, we can specify it, or else we can skip remote control agent. Later, after vault installation, we can configure this remote control agent. It's up to you. If you want to skip, you can just select skip, or else if you have the remote server address in your organization, you can directly specify the remote control remote terminal's IP address and the password of remote control agent what you are going to specify.
So I got
Next.
a quick question on this one.
Yes, please.
The remote agent, whatever that is, remote control agent, right? So I mean, basically in all the applications I have done or used so far, remote desktop connection, or I mean, at best case scenario there'll be a jump server, right? But this is one extra layer in a way that you are basically installing a client utility on a remote server. So is it basically for the sake of, hey, I don't want my servers to have accessibility until and unless there is a need. I would just have one client and then monitor my jobs. I would like to isolate from any other access. Is that the reason? What's the use case, for example? What's the use case for that?
So, for example, if you are not able to access the digital vault server, means you are not able to log into our vault server. RDP access is blocked. Let us say RDP access is blocked and we were not able to log into the vault server, digital vault server. So in that case, I want to check the status of the vault, whether the services are running or not. Private database service, okay, Private server service. So in order to check those services, okay, we were not able to log into the vault server in order to check those services. So in that case, we can log into this remote control server or remote terminal server, and we can run some commands to see the status of the vault, whether the services are running or not, etc. So that is the use case. And see here, this remote control agent will be installed on the vault server. So during the vault installation, this agent will get installed on the vault. It's not on the remote terminal. So on the remote terminal, we are going to use remote control client. Okay, so using that remote control client, we will run some commands from the command prompt in order to monitor the vault server. So that is the use case. Clear?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Right. Next, it will ask us for hardening. Okay, CyberArk recommends hardening the operating system. The hardening process disables many operating system services which are not required to operate the vault server. So this we discussed. On a Windows machine, we have multiple Windows services that will be up and running on a Windows operating system. So once we harden the vault server, it will block those operating system services which are not required for our CyberArk vault running. Okay, and also it will block the firewall rules. It will allow only the CyberArk proprietary protocol, that is 1858 firewall. So only 1858 firewall will be open and rest of all other firewalls will get blocked. So that's why we can say our vault is a highly secured server, secured and hardened server. Okay, right. So CyberArk installed the vault server on a hardened operating system based on the Microsoft Security Compliance Manager. Okay, so we need to harden the machine. So in my case, I have not hardened during my installation. but actually we need to harden the vault server. That is recommended. So why I have not hardened is because later we are going to perform some integrations as well. Later I will show you how to harden our vault server once we complete entire implementations and integrations. Right. Next, built-in passwords. So during the installation process, two accounts will be created. One is master account and second one is administrator account. So see the statement. Setup creates an account called master account. So this account can be used in case of emergencies when you need full access to the vault. Okay, and it will create one more account called administrator account, and we can use this account to perform administrative operations on the vault. So we need to specify the passwords for both the accounts and then go next. Done. Complete setup. Okay, so once installation is done, better to take a reboot of a server after installing every package. So here in this case they have not rebooted because later we are going to install PrivateArch client. Okay, so in our first session we discussed PrivateArch client. It's an interface used for logging onto the digital vault server. So it's an interface used for logging onto the vault server to perform the vault operations. PrivateArch client is an interface. So now I'll show you how to install that PrivateArch client. So once we install that PrivateArch client, it will ask us for a reboot again. Okay, so after installing the vault, instead of multiple reboots, so they have taken no, I will restart later because we have to install PrivateArch client as well. So after installing PrivateArch client, again it will ask us for reboot instead of rebooting twice. So after installing the vault, just install PrivateArch client and then take a reboot. Okay, so now in our last session I did not show you how to install a PrivateArch client, but we'll see. Right, so these are the steps that are involved in the vault installation. Okay, remember the steps, understand the concepts. Right, so once we run the setup file, we have installed prerequisites, and then the main steps are we have choose the destination location where to install the software on that particular Windows operating system, and we have chosen the saves directory where to create those saves, that is PrivateArch saves, and we have selected mode of installation, that is standalone mode or cluster mode of installation, and it asked for a hardening no, before hardening it asked us for a license path. Okay, we need to browse and specify the license.xml file path, and next it will ask us for a operator keys path. We need to specify the operator keys. Inside operator key, server key must and should be there in order to install the digital vault server. And after specifying license file path and operator keys path, it will ask us for hardening, whether to harden or not, but we have to always harden the digital vault server as per CyberArk best practices. So we have selected hardening, and then it will ask us for remote control agent, whether to configure remote control agent or not. So we have to specify that, or we can skip and later configure that remote control agent. And then it will ask us for built-in account passwords, master account password, and administrator account password. So these are the steps involved during the vault installation, right? So now after vault installation, we'll see the server environment, verify installation server and vault environment. So verify all services are started or not. So once we install the digital vault server on the particular operating system, open the services, Windows services, and these are the services that are related to digital vault server. So after installing the vault server, these services will be created. CyberArk event notification engine service, CyberArk hardened Windows firewall. Okay, so see here, let me log into the vault. So these are the services: CyberArk event notification engine service, CyberArk logic container service, and here it is CyberArk hardened Windows firewall. Okay, so if I search with hardening, I can't see CyberArk hardened Windows firewall. What's the reason? Any one of you? So this service on the screen, you can see CyberArk hardened Windows firewall service. I'm not able to see this service. What's the reason?
So it didn't show hardening.
Yes, very good. Because I have not hardened this machine. Okay, so that's why we were not able to see that service. So once we harden that machine, we can able to see that CyberArk Windows hardened firewall service will be up and running. Okay, next, PrivateArk database service, PrivateArk remote control agent service, PrivateArk server service. PrivateArk server is the main service of Vault. Okay, so if we go back, PrivateArk database service, it is running. PrivateArk remote control agent running. PrivateArk server, it is running. This is the main service. If this service is not running, okay, in the back end, your vault will be, your vault is not running. So if we stop this service, if I stop this service in the back end, the vault will be stopped. Okay, let me show you. So right now the vault is up and running. Right now the vault is up and running. See here, server is up and running. Okay, so now let me stop this service. PrivateArk server, I'm stopping this. Stop. So when PrivateArk server stops, these other services will also stop. That is event notification engine. So this is a dependency service. Okay, okay, fine. So just click on yes. Okay, so this service is stopped. Now if I go back to remote server administration console, see here, now the green light is popped up and we can see the messages here. Database manager is shutting down. Okay, server has normally terminated. Server has normally terminated. Database is shutting down. Our vault server is down now. Okay, so if our vault server is down, entire our CyberArk components will be down, because all the components CPM, PWP, PTA, whatever AM, whatever we are going to deploy later, all these components will talk to our digital vault server with 1858 protocol. Okay, so if our vault itself is not running, then all components will be down. Okay, so remember, we should not shut down these service. Always we need to make sure this service is up and running. So we will restart, or we will stop and start these services, particularly when we do some configurations on the vault server. Later I'll show you what are those configurations, and once we made those configurations, we'll just restart that PrivateArk server service with a downtime. Okay, so now if I start this service again, okay, service got started, it is running. If I go back to the console, see here, successfully connected to database, server is up and running. Okay, so again it came to the red light. So even if we stop the vault server here, in the backend PrivateArk server will service will get terminated. Let me stop here. Shutdown. Okay, are you sure you want to proceed with the shutdown? Yes. Database manager is shutting down. Okay, server has normally terminated. Now it shows green light. Okay, in the backend PrivateArk server will be down. So just refresh this. See here, PrivateArk server is down. So this is the main service of Vault. Okay, so if I start the Vault here again, this service will be up and running. So now connected to database and Vault server is up and running. So just refresh these services. So see here, PrivateArk server is running. Okay, remember, in organization you should not do this. Okay, if you stop the vault server, entire your production will be down. If you stop this vault server or private arc database service, entire your production is down. It's a huge impact to the organization. Okay, means, let us say you stopped this vault server. Okay, your components will not function, particularly your PVWA. When users will hit that PVWA URL for logging to our CyberArk tool, it will not work because your vault is down and PVWA will not be able to communicate to your vault server. Okay, so remember, we should not stop this vault server. We should be very careful when we logged into the vault server. We will do some operations, we'll do some integrations during that particular point of time. We will take a downtime and we will restart this private arc server service when we do some specific configurations. Okay, so next, so these are the services that will be created after vault installation. We need to remember these services. Okay, we need to remember the names of these services. Next, verify the server started. Okay, so we have seen this is the server administrative console. In the server administrative console, we can see the start and stop option, red light and green light, and ITA log. Okay, so these messages we call it as ITA logs. This is the main log file of vault server. This we can also see from the installation directory. So if we go to installation path, so this is the installation path where we install this software, C program files, private arc server logs. So inside logs we'll have ITA log, iteration log. So the same log, whatever we are seeing on the server administrative console, we can see it here in the form of text. So this is the log file. Next, yes, the next step is verify built-in safes and users. Okay, private arc client is the administrative interface to the vault and can be installed on any station with access to the vault. Verify, you can log into the private arc client and see whether you can able to see the built-in safes and users or not. Okay, so basically private arc client is an interface used for accessing the vault server. So in our previous session we have not installed this. Now I'll show you how to install this private arc client and see whether the safes are created or not. Actually, we have defined the path in the C private arc safes during the installation. C private arc safes. Let me go to C private arc safes, and inside safes we'll have data. So these are the three safes: notification engine safe, system safe, vault internal safe. These are the default safes that will be created after vault installation. Very, very important. Sometimes these safes will not get created automatically. Means somewhere your installation process is wrong. Maybe during the installation it is failed to initialize the vault database. That is one of the reason these safes will not get created. So during that time you need to remove the entire uninstall the package and you need to reinstall the vault server again. So make sure these three safes, notification engine safe, system safe, and vault internal safe should be up and should be created after vault installation. So these safes now we can see from our private arc client. Let me install the private arc client. Okay, we have not copied private arc client here. Give me a second, let me get that software. Hope you guys can able to see my screen. Okay. Yes or no? Can you guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I have copied this client software. This is the client software, Privatar client software. So see here, the version is 9.8 here. Okay. So CyberArk has not released specific versions for this Privatar client because it's not a component. It's just a client interface for accessing the vault. Okay. So the latest, I think they have released it as 12 version, but I have 9.8 version. I just copied 9.8 version. So let us install this Privatar client on the Vault server. So this is the client software. So run this setup file .exe file. Always run the any setup file. Okay, welcome to Privatar client version 8 setup. This program will install Privatar client on our computer. Okay, so it is strongly recommended that you exit all Windows programs before running the any setup program. So if there are any open files, just close it and run the file. I'm going to close this server administrative console services. Okay, leave it. So welcome to Privatar client. Okay, click on next. Next, license agreement, product license agreement. If you run any software package, these two steps are common. Okay, so accept the license terms. Next, user information, registration information, enter the name of the company and the company whom we work. Okay, specify the name and company name. Next, choose destination location. Okay, so where to install this particular Privatar client software, that is C program files 86 Privatar. Okay, default path, leave it as it is. Click on next. Mode of installation, typical. It is always recommended to go with the typical. Go with typical mode. Next, select program folder. By default it is Privatar folder. Okay, click on next. It's a straightforward installation. Okay, so now, would you like to define your first Privatark vault now? Vaults may be added later using Privatark client. So if you want to define it now, we can define it, or else we can define it later. So we have an option called skip. So I will define it now. Let me click on OK. Server name, server address, default username. Server name, server address, default username. Server name, we can specify any name, whatever we want. Okay, I'll call this as prod vault, production vault, or primary vault. Whatever the name you want, you can use server name. Okay, it's just for our understanding purpose. Next, server address. Can someone tell me what address I need to give here? Privatar client is an interface used to access the vault server to perform some administrative operations. So what server address I need to give here?
10.0.0.1.
10.0.0.1. What is that server address? What is that address? Which server it is?
Vault
No, AD
Vault
server, I guess.
AD server.
Yeah,
Two
we
is
need to
vault
give.
server.
Yes, 2 is vault server in our case. So which address we need to specify here? Is it
Vault
AD server
server
address or
address.
vault server address or component server address?
Vault server.
Vault server address. Okay. So in our case, it is 10.0.0.2 is my vault server address. It's a client is an interface for accessing the vault server. Okay. So we need to specify the vault server address. And the default username is go with administrator is the default account that got created during the vault installation to perform vault administrative operations. Okay, administrator. Just click on OK. PrivateArc has detected that your internet browser may be done. Okay, this is just a warning message. Click on OK. So now it got installed. Okay, setup complete. So do you want to take a reboot? Yes, take a reboot. It's a straightforward installation. Okay. Only thing is whether we need to define the PrivateArc vault or we need to skip it. Let me log into Vault. Remember, this PrivateArc client can be installed on any server, provided 1858 should be opened from that server to the Vault server. Okay, so now we got one more icon on the desktop on the Vault server. So this is PrivateArc client. Okay, this is PrivateArc client. Let me open this PrivateArc client. Okay, so if I open that PrivateArc client, we can see our vault, what we have defined. Server name is prod vault I have defined now. So now open this one and the default username is administrator. Give the administrator user password. Authentication failure. What is the password we have given during the administrator? Is it CyberArk one? Just a minute. Okay, right. So during our vault installation, I have specified CyberArk at the rate 1234. Right. So we logged into the PrivateArc client now, and so these are nothing but safes. These are nothing but safes. So it's like a logical container, means a box, a container. Okay. In the bank, we will have our locker. Same like locker, we have a safes. Inside safes, we have information, privileged accounts information. Means we are going to onboard privileged accounts of the customers or end users into these safes, and these safes will be securely stored on our digital vault server. So let me open this system safe. Right click and we have an option called open. Okay, see here the door got opened now. This is a locker, it's a logical container. So again right click, open and step into. Okay, so now we are into that box, into that safe. So if I open the system safe, it contains dbpalm.ini configuration file of vault server. What is this one? Anyone info? What is this one?
Log file.
It's a log file of vault server, that is ITA log, and this is the license.xml file, so which is required for vault installation, that we can see in the system safe. And what is this one? Anyone of you? paragent.log. This is the log file related to remote control agent. Okay, so if we configure remote control agent, we can see the logs in the paragent.log. And passpalm.ini, which is the password parameter file. In this file, we can see the password complexity rules, what is the length of the password, etc. for the built-in users. And tspalm.ini, this is related to the safes directory where the safes are going to be created on the Vault server. So this is how the safes will be safes we can see here. Let me close this safe. So I have closed this safe. Let me open this Vault internal safe. So right now it is empty. Later we'll see after integrating LDAP with CyberArk, we can see some files in the Vault internal safe. Close. And if I go to tools, administrative tools, users and groups, tools, administrative tools, users and groups. So these are the default users and groups that are created after Vault installation. So we have administrator user, auditor user, and auditors group. If it is multiple heads, we call it as a group. If it is a single head, we call it as an user. Okay, auditor user, auditors group, batch user, master user. So this master account and administrator account got created during the installation. We have specified passwords. Notification engines group, and some users called backup user, DR user, operator user, and Vault admins group. Okay, so these are the default users and groups that will be created after Vault installation. So just remember these names. Later we will discuss about what is the use of each and every user. Okay, and this group is very, very important, Vault admins group. Right. So we have seen, so we logged into Privitar client and we can able to see all these three saves, and we can see the default users and groups. Next, look at Vault configuration and log files. Okay, so in the Vault installation directory where we have installed the Vault, we can see these configuration files, log files, and par agent.log and passpalm.ini and tspalm.ini. Let me go back to our Vault server. So I'm logging off from Privitar client here, log off. So go to installation directory, that is C drive, program files 86, Privitar server. This is where we installed. In the server, conf means configurations. So in the configurations, we can see dbpalm.ini, which is the main configuration file of Vault. And we have good file, ini.good file. So ini.good file in the sense, till the last configurations, whatever that are saved successfully, so that we call it as a good file. For example, if we make any changes in the dbpalm.ini and our Vault is not running, okay, because of the changes in the dbpalm.ini, then we can replace that file with the good file. Till that time, whatever the good configurations that are saved in the dbpalm can be replaced with that good file. Okay, and similarly license file is there, and par agent, which is the configuration file of remote control agent, passpalm. Let me open this passpalm for you. So passpalm, you can see the password complexity rules: minimum alphabetic 1, minimum numeric 1, minimum length is 6. So these are the password parameters for EPV users. EPV users, whatever we are going to create. Okay, we need to follow these specifications, right? And tspalm.ini, it contains the safes location where the safes got installed. See Privitar saves, right? So the same configuration files and log files we can see in the system safe also. I showed you just before. We logged into Privitar client. Inside the system safe, we have these configuration files, license file, and the log files. So we can also see that from the installation directory on the Vault server. So this is how the system safe. If we open the system safe, we can see these configuration files, log files, and license.xml file. Okay, so that's it. That's it. So this is the Vault installation. Here, guys. Any questions? Any questions?
So my question is, So installation and configuration would be part of your job, pretty much, right? When we just go work as a cyber consultant.
So it depends upon the project. Okay, so if a customer wants to go with this project, if this particular solution, so you may be engaged into the implementation phase. Okay, then your role will be like an implementation engineer. Okay,
Okay.
so after implementing the solution, definitely again you need to work on the supporting tasks on the integrations part. It depends upon the project. For example, if a company, if an organization already implemented this project, okay, already implemented this project, but they want to set up an alternative alternative setup. For example, I have seen in my career, in my experience, like for the big organizations, so it's not like only one CyberArk instance will be there. Okay, there may be multiple CyberArk instances, means different users within that organization will use one CyberArk instance and other users will use other CyberArk instance within the environment if it is a large number of privileged users. So in that case, they want to go with a separate instance deployment, or you can also involve in the upgradation of existing solution. Means 13.2 version, later we are getting 14 version. Okay, so we need to upgrade the solution, so that will also come under implementation roles.
Okay.
Any other?
So the next thing is, I was, exploring so we need to install the software in our machines. And I was, sending that link to the group yesterday. There is a 30-day trial version that I saw, and I don't know if that's even a valid one. So are you going to be able to provide us the file? Do we go online, create account, use that 30-day trial? Is that still a valid same thing as we'll be doing here? Does that have all the components that are required? How do we do that?
No, I am not going to suggest you to download to go with that trial version. I'm going to share the package, whatever we are discussing now, along with the license file and the operator keys. I'll send it to all of you guys. I think Rakesh is going to share with you guys. I'll give the entire software package to you. Okay.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so that's it for today's session, and in next session we'll go ahead and we'll install the other CyberArk components. So tomorrow we'll focus on the PVWA part. Okay, thank you guys. So thank you all. Have a nice
Thank
day.
you.